There is this saying that stupid people don't really learn that much because they think that they already know everything. Most people manage to learn from their mistakes, but the smart people learn from others' mistakes. 2 days ago I turned 30 and I've been reflecting on my 20s, and hopefully today I will be able to help you to learn something from my mistakes. 10 years ago I weighed the same as I weigh today, but it looked completely different. So my younger brother told me that I should go on a diet, which I did. And I wasn't really that interested in fitness at the time. I was more interested in becoming a musician. So what I wanted to do was to figure out how can I lose body fat with a minimum amount of work and effort and get the results. During about a semester, half a year, I lost 18 kgs of fat or body weight, because I probably lost some muscle as well on the journey. And during this time, when I lost the weight, I did that only knowing two things. I knew what a calorie deficit was and I knew what protein was. That was all it took for me in order to lose 18 kgs. And during this period of time, I was starting to look into self-improvement online, and mainly the manly self-improvement, the masculine self-improvement. And I ran across a couple of channels that taught men how to look good. So now I have a completely different opinion and I have my own way of viewing things. But at that point in time, there were some really basic things that would actually change me a lot and help me improve the way I looked a lot. So I lost 18 kgs of fat. And on top of that, I stopped wearing t-shirts with a death metal print on, and I stopped wearing the cargo shorts that's like 2/3 long, past down your knees, right? Just by improving my style a little bit and losing 18 kgs and becoming lean and having a little bit of muscle, everything in my life changed. People started approaching me much more often, and people who I met always were a lot kinder to me, for no reason that I could figure out other than the fact that I looked better. And all of a sudden girls also started to look at me, and girls never looked at me before. So all of a sudden girls looked at me and people were a lot nicer to me. At that point in time, I didn't want that to be the case. I wanted everybody to meet new people and figure out who they were. Don't judge a book by its cover, basically. And that's the way I thought the world worked. But it turned out, by practical experience, that when I started to look better, people were treating me much more nicer. And that is a big thing that I figured out within the first 6 months after I turned 20, that looking good has so many benefits that it's unfair. Now, I started looking better because I stepped up my style a little bit, but the biggest thing, by far the biggest thing, was to lose the body fat. So the biggest thing you can do in order to look good is lose body fat. And also when you get muscle on top of that, when you are lean and muscular, the game is completely unfair to the people who are not. So that's one of the biggest things that I learned early in my 20s, and that actually helped me throughout my whole 20s to have like all of the benefits that comes when people treat you much more nice. And also based on that, I got triggered because I never saw that much results for the work that I put in before. So I put in a certain amount of work in terms of going to the gym and eating at a calorie deficit, and the results I got back was so good that I was addicted. I needed more. And at that time when I lost the body fat, I told myself I will never be chubby again. Having that said, I think it's time to go get myself cleaned up a little bit.
I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, a disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working. Never stop searching, never quench the thirsty. I'm toxic and psychotic.
Let's get back to work. Work and education is the next big lesson that I learned. Because even though I wasn't really that passionate about fitness yet, I still did the few things that I knew would make the most reward for me. That was, I tracked my calories, I tracked my protein, and I stuck to my training program. So every day when it was a training day, I went into the gym and I tried to perform a little bit better than the previous workout. So I got rewarded even though I wasn't really that passionate. I should have been that passionate because I should have realized that I got more reward from the work I put into my training than I ever got into the work I put into music, which means that I was basically more talented when it came to training than when it came to the gym. I put in the work every day, but I wasn't passionate. So most of you guys watching now, I believe know more about fitness and training than I knew. But a lot of people watching this has not even gotten the results yet that I had gotten from training 1, 2, maybe 3 years, because I actually did put in the work even though I wasn't passionate. Most people would call that discipline. I prefer to call it work, because work actually implies that you get rewarded, you get the pay, right? Now there was a huge shift in my mentality when I got more serious into fitness, because in the beginning it was only something that I did on the side and my passion was about music. But my dreams within music kind of got crushed when my band split up, and on top of that also I started to realize that I wasn't really that gifted when it came to music. But I did think that I was kind of gifted when it came to training, and it was pretty obvious after I did my first cut that changed my life that my muscle insertions, the way my body looks, was pretty good. I looked pretty good even though I didn't really have that much muscle. Everything just fit together pretty good, which would indicate that I was actually pretty talented when it came to fitness. So I should have made a shift earlier, but I was a very dedicated person and I was dedicated to music, so I wouldn't let it go that easily until my music dreams actually got crushed. The big change that happened then was that I started to shift my mindset from how can I do the least amount of work possible to get the most results to what work can I do to get more results. So it was no longer about getting away with as little as possible. It moved towards I want to get more results, what more work can I put in? Now, if you do the same thing every day, like I did, I tracked my calories, my protein, and I tried to perform better in the gym. Every day will give just about the same amount of reward because you put in the same amount of work. But when I became passionate about fitness, I actually started to educate myself and learn more about it because I was passionate. And with the things that I learned and I was able to implement into the gym, I actually started to get better and better results with each workout that I put in because I educated myself so that every workout became more efficient. So the big thing that I learned was that I could get the results without being passionate. I just needed to put in the work. But there is a huge benefit to being passionate about it, because when you're passionate about it, you educate yourself so that every time you put in the work, you get more results back. So in the best scenario, if you only want one thing, let's say that you're 20 years old, like I was when I started, and you make up your mind that you want to do fitness, and maybe you don't want to be a musician, maybe you don't want to focus on money yet, maybe you don't want to focus on your normal education, maybe you're only passionate about fitness. That means that you can both work and educate yourself at the same time which means that you're gonna get the reward for the work you put in, and you're also going to get better rewarded with each workout you put in, because you educate yourself so you get more back. That was one of the biggest lessons that I learned, that I can get the results even if I'm not passionate, as long as I put in the work. And also that there is a baseline. I had my baseline of tracking my calories, my protein, and doing the workout. And as long as I kept that baseline, I would keep on improving. Now, the educational part is the reason why I now feel like I can go into the gym and I can get a better workout in than most people, and I can do it within 15 minutes if I want to, because I know exactly what to do, because I educated myself and then I put in the work, and then when I put in the work, I actually become better, because training and lifting weights is a skill. Now, during these years in my early 20s, I had a friend group that I spent most of my free time with. So when I wasn't working out or trying to play the music, right? Because I actually put a lot of work into the music and it didn't really reward me. I put in a lot more work than the other band members, and they were still as good as me. Should have been a sign, right? But I didn't really catch up on that. I tried to just outwork everybody. Now, this group of friends, we had great times together. But when the highs are really high, usually the lows are pretty low as well. And what I came to realize, or actually my girlfriend at the time, who was a part of this group, and I was really tight with this girl, we actually had a great relationship, and like that was actually something really amazing that I got to experience and have in my 20s, this amazing girl. She noticed and she got anxiety because she said, every time we meet we drink. That's the only thing we do. We haven't met this friend group without drinking in a really long time. And then I thought about it, it was like, she is right. Every time the reason we're having a good time isn't really in particular because I like these friends. It's the alcohol. So they were more so drinking buddies than actual friends. And the more I started to think about it, the more I realized that, hey, I don't really like these people really that much. Now, it was really hard to admit, and I didn't want to admit it because they were my friends. But the more I thought about it, I thought, hey, every time I come and I bring a positive vibe and I try to be uplifting, and for some reason there's always some drama, there's always somebody who said something about that person, and that person did that thing with that person over there, and there was always some kind of drama. And I didn't realize it at the time, but even though I was a part of the friend group, I knew that I could do better, right? And I realized that, hey, I couldn't admit that they were not good friends because they were my friends, right? But the truth was that I did not benefit from having those people as my friends. And I actually understood, and I came to realize that, hey, these people benefit a lot from me. Because I always try to come and solve everything. I try to be uplifting. I try to make best thing happen, right? And when something happened somewhere, I always went there and tried to fix it. I tried to shift the mindset to something positive. But there was an incident, like when there's alcohol involved and there are high highs and low lows, things usually happen. And I came to a fallout with one of the guys in the group. And I said, fuck it, that's it. And I just ghosted everybody. So I just completely left everybody alone, ghosted everybody, and I went on my own. And I came to realize that at first some of the other people tried to make it work, but that friend group just fell apart without me. Okay, so that actually says quite a lot as well. Now, the big thing that I want to take away from this is that when I stopped being with this friend group, I actually started focusing on myself and my self-improvement, and I took my fitness more seriously. And I started to do more on my YouTube channels, because I actually started this YouTube channel pretty long time ago. And if you want to, you can look back and you see how I changed with time. And I'm very proud that I actually have changed a lot with time, because I wasn't really that developed in my early 20s. So yeah, what I came to realize is that I evolved so much faster and improved so much better without these people. I was alone. make no mistake, I didn't replace my friend group really at all. I just ended up alone. Now I had a lot of friends, okay, like I had a lot of people that I could reach out to if I wanted to. So that was not the problem. But the situation was that I came to realize that it is better for me to be alone than to be in a bad company. I really consider the people I meet, and I don't allow anyone to come close to me if they are not on their own journey to self-improvement, if they are not bringing something positive, if they don't add to my life, I will not let them into my life. And I'm very, very rush on this part. And as I become better and as I become a more self-aware person, and I try to, every time I meet people, I want to make sure that they have a good time when they meet me, right? I make sure that everybody always benefits from my company, right? And when you do that, when you make sure that everybody benefits from your company, everybody is in a better mood when you're around, what's going to happen is that you're going to attract a lot of people. Now, just because people want to be my friend doesn't mean that I want them to be my friend. And of course I have to be respectful, and I am always respectful, but I don't allow people to come too close to me unless I know it's a really good person. I put in a lot of work when I tried to become a musician, right? And even though I put in a lot of work, my friends who didn't put in a lot of work were just as good as me, and it was quite painful. But that was like the clear opposite of what happened when I started with fitness. I was actually getting pretty good results compared to most people. Now, don't compare me to Chris Bumstead, please, okay? There are levels to this game, right? I'm comparing myself to most other people in the gym. Compared to most people, I did get a pretty good result for the work that I put in, okay? And people started asking me, do you compete? And I was like, you know, that's the ego boost right there. You know, you don't compete. You've been like doing a calorie tracking and basic training, and you're not even that passionate. And people start to ask you if you compete. And that gave me an ego boost. And I started to think that I was actually pretty good. And I mainly thought that, hey, I have potential here. I might actually have potential when it comes to this fitness thing. So I ended up competing. And leading up to the competition, I looked at YouTube videos and I thought, hey, I can beat all of those guys. Those guys, man, I can beat all of them. That's what I thought, right? And I put in the work, I hired a coach. And at that point in time, I thought that if I pay more for the coach will be a good coach. The coach was actually a real fucking shitty coach. It was the first competition I ever did. I did it as a natural, and the coach completely fucked me up. And to be honest, like the first part, I tried to tell him, hey, it's time to get going. And he said, yeah, wait till it's a little bit closer, right? So I started dieting on my own, right? Because he had no perspective. And unless I would have done that, I would not have gotten into shape, right? And then when we got closer to the competition, he started to hurry, like, hey, you're not in shape. And I was like, hey, I fucking told you, right, 3 months ago. Okay, so now I'm not, the point is beyond that. It's not about complaining about the coach. But when I was going to do my first competition, I looked at all the other people and I realized, hey, I have a better ab structure than them. My insertions are prettier and I'm just as lean as them, and they don't carry that much more muscle than me, if any. A lot of people were smaller than me. I should beat them. It should be easy for me, right? But my coach screwed up my peak completely. And I didn't really look that good on stage. And I do believe that maybe I shouldn't have been outside of the top 15, because when I looked at the picture, I stood next to the #1 guy. And in my opinion, I beat him in 2 out of 4 poses. So still a little bit like mad about that, but that's beyond the point. The point was that I thought that I deserved to win because I had better potential than the other guys, in my opinion. Now, I competed more. I actually have competed 8 times. So I have some experience when it comes to going up on stage. And here's the thing. Some of those times I coached myself, and some of those times I had a coach. The first coach I only had for the first competition, who was a bad coach. And then later on I got a different coach. Now, every competition that I did, I looked at the other people that I was competing against, and I thought I will beat them because I have better genetics. I look better, my abs are prettier, and my lats insert lower, and my bicep inserts better, and I have a better, smaller waist or whatever, you know, it doesn't matter. The thing was that I had a big ego, and I thought that I was going to beat all of them. Come show day, I didn't. I looked like shit on stage. Why? Because I screwed up the last week, okay? So I screwed up the peak, and pretty much every time I did the same fucking thing, which kind of like, either I spilled because I thought that, hey, I'm gonna load up like crazy before, or I over dieted. Most of the times I over dieted and I lost my muscle. I lost all my fullness, and yeah, that was it, right? A couple of times I screwed up. And also I had a coach who screwed me up. He screwed me up bad. He screwed me up completely because he didn't listen to my feedback. I told him I'm fucking dying, right? And he didn't listen. He pushed me harder, right? If I complain to my coach, make no mistake, I'm not complaining like a little bitch. If I tell him I feel like dying, that means that everything in my world has become darker over 2 weeks, right? And I have no energy, and I actually literally feel like dying, okay? But he didn't listen, so he screwed me up completely. Well, regardless, the big thing here is that I thought that I deserved to win because of my potential. But when it came to reality, I screwed up. I didn't look good on stage, right? And that's the big lesson. You are not your potential. You may have a lot of potential, but your potential doesn't fucking matter unless you put it together. Unless you put in the work, and unless you actually nail it when it comes time to perform, your potential is nothing. And that was a big hard lesson for my ego to realize that, hey, maybe I had better genetics, maybe I didn't. The whole thing was that I thought that I deserved to win, but I didn't. And I was so pissed off because I thought I deserved to win when the truth was that the other guys on stage was actually better than me. That one hurt me a lot, actually. During most of the years in my 20s, I had this girlfriend that I mentioned previously, and she was wonderful, and she did so much more for me than I could ever give back to her. And I kind of felt guilty about that because I couldn't give back as much as she gave me. Sure, I had my romantic moments, like I know how to be a little bit romantic, but it didn't weigh up for what she gave me. And our relationship became more and more serious with time. But I also, for some reason, with time, just didn't love her the same. And I don't know why, because she loved me and she gave me everything. But I just couldn't, no matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't love her the same as I did in the beginning of the relationship. And that was really painful and it was hard, but I didn't admit that to myself. That is something that I admitted to myself long after the relationship. So I couldn't admit that to myself. But the truth is that I couldn't love her. And it was painful because she loved me and she gave me everything. And when it came down to it, like, we had a pretty bad last 6 months of our relationship. That was probably the definition of a toxic relationship. And that was because she loved me and I couldn't love her no matter how much I tried. Now, that was one of the toughest things for me to do because I knew that I needed, like, the whole family question was starting to come up, okay? So the question was, are we, like, it's maybe starting to become a time for something more, you know? And we've been together for, I think, almost 10 years at that point. Like, we've been together, yeah, 10 years. Like from 15 or 16 to 25 or 26, something like that. And the thing was that I knew that I needed more time to develop myself. I knew that if I put in 10 years of hard work, I would be a completely different man. And I believed in myself, and I knew that if I put in the work, I will be in the top 1% no fucking matter what. I will put in the work, but there's no way to shortcut the time it's going to take. And she could not wait 10 years. And I knew that, and she knew that. And I was not going to compromise my own journey. And that's when we broke up. And it was the hardest thing I did because she loved me and she was willing to give me everything. But I just couldn't, and I needed to follow on my own path. And now, looking at where I'm at now, I made the right decision. Because now it's very clear, like the development I've done for myself and my improvements have been so good that it's very clear that I made the right choice, but it was so tough to do. And the big choice and the big message to this all was that I chose myself. And I believe that's one of the biggest things that you need to do as a man, choose yourself. So the last 6 months of that relationship was a really bad 6 months because I actually tried to study. I was studying to become a teacher, and I studied physics, and it was like the hardest thing. It was basically the hardest route you could take based on what everybody said. So it was a tough course, right? And on top of that, I was in this bad relationship that was kind of taxing on me. On top of that, I was on a competition prep. So I was dieting to step on stage, and that is tough. Everybody who's been on a prep knows that is tough. So I was trying to study physics at a higher level, and I wanted to get in shape. I was getting into shape for a competition. And on top of that, I was addicted to weed. And I smoked weed every day. And even when I smoked weed, I still managed to do the exams for the physics, and I actually pulled them off, even though I was addicted to weed. And if you don't know, weed, it probably decreases your IQ by like 1 standard deviation. It's like, it makes you stupid, literally. But I still managed to do it. But then at the end, my anxiety got so high from the bad relationship, from the competition prep that I got closer and closer to, leaner and leaner, less and less energy, right? And the marijuana. And I was going to study for this exam, and I knew that I could understand that. I knew that was not so hard. I knew I could do it. But when I looked at the paper, I just froze. I stared blank at the paper, and I just could not study. No matter how hard I tried, I just could not study. And I failed the exam because I was like 3 weeks, like usually I prepare for the exam like 2-3 days before, and I just sum it all up. I know I take an overlook, and I need a couple of days, and then I do it, and it turned out well. That time I've had 3 weeks to prepare, but I just looked at it and I could not do it because of the anxiety and the weed. And the Trenbolone. I mean, it probably adds up, right? Everything adds up. It's hard to say what is the bigger factor, but weed was the biggest factor, okay? And the bad relationship and the competition prep. Tren was probably a small factor. So I failed that exam, and I was so angry because I went in there to just sit off the time, right? And when I got the exam and I looked at it, it was like, I can figure this shit out. I started going, right? Because I realized that, hey, I can actually figure this out, even though I didn't study and I didn't know it beforehand. I thought I could figure it out. But then there was half of the exam was about proof, like you prove why a certain thing. And like the people who came up with this proof, they're like IQ, like about 145 or whatever genius level they say. I cannot figure out the proof spontaneously like that. So I failed the exam, and after that, I failed the competition completely. I looked like garbage on contest day, okay? And that's a whole story to itself. And then I broke up with the girl, and I moved back to mom. So that was rock bottom. And across this period of time, I also spent all my money because I actually had some savings in funds. Do you call it funds? Like, I think it's called like stocks, right? And I actually lost all of that money during that time because I spent money on things I shouldn't have because I was high. So, rock bottom, back home with mom. No money. I got off my studies. What do you call it? I stopped studying. I got off all of that, and I failed everything, and I went back to mom. And I was a little bit too old to go back to mom at that time, but I have a good mom, I have a good family, and yeah. And I needed a break from everything because I felt like a loser. I screwed everything up, and I started working as a substitute teacher at a school. And pretty soon I felt confused. I had no idea what I was doing. All of a sudden I was like like wiping asses of small kids, and then I was in a classroom teaching like subjects that I didn't know. I felt like I had no idea what I was doing, but the people who hired me at the school saw me and thought that I did a great job. So I got pulled in more and more, and they just pointed me in any direction, and they knew that I would solve the problem. Now, that is probably my biggest gift, is that I'm very, very good at teaching things. And I heard that as a kid growing up, that I should be a teacher. So that was like a pretty big thing. Like, I studied to be a teacher as well. And if you have listened this far on this video, maybe you can make up your mind for yourself or not, whether you think that I'm able to explain my messages clearly or not. And in an entertaining way. That's also beneficial, right? So I actually landed a job in Stockholm, the main city in Sweden, as a math and science teacher for kids between the age of 12 and 15, like 7th, 8th and 9th grade, right? Math and physics. And I did great, but it was different from being a substitute teacher, because all of a sudden I realized that, hey, I was gonna do that, and I was gonna do my YouTube channel, and on top of that, I was going on to a competition prep, right? And doing too many things at once is what screwed me up the time before that, and that's why I ended up with Mom, because I was trying to study, I was trying to do the competition prep, and I tried to be in a good relationship that wasn't really that good. And for some reason, I just couldn't hold myself back. I had to do so many things at once. But I actually screwed up that competition prep, because I came to the conclusion and I realized that, hey, I have a total of about 90 kids here, and their education is depending on me. I cannot go to the school as a teacher and be brain dead and be a zombie because I'm on a diet, right? And for the first time in my life, other people were more important than me. For the first time in my life, the kids I was educating in the school was more important than me. And I realized that, hey, I can't be on a high, I knew I wasn't in shape. I knew I wasn't in shape for the competition, but I could not decrease my calories because I could not be brain dead as a teacher standing and teaching a class, right? And that's the first time when I realized that, hey, I'm an adult now, because these kids matter more than me. And as long as you're your own number one priority, maybe you're just not an adult yet. And that, of course, some people will live their whole life only taking care of themselves. But for me, that was a big realization that, hey, now I'm an adult because these kids matter more than me. Now, I'm not a teacher and I'm not taking care of any kids right now currently, but I do believe that that period of time developed me to the point where I am capable enough to take on that responsibility. And also, my number one thing that I do now is the YouTube channel, and I try to make this look like entertainment, right? I try to make entertain you, but the truth is that I always try to make sure that there is a message to the video, and I always try to trick people into thinking that it's entertainment, when truly I do want to help the world, and I do believe that I can help educate people and help them learn from my mistakes. So I'm still kind of doing the same thing. Now, I have 2 points left, 2 big ones. The last one will be short, but it's probably one of the biggest ones. So, like I told you, I did the work in my early 20s. I went to the gym, I tracked my calories, I tracked my protein, and I tried to progress every workout, right? And sometimes I felt like doing it, and sometimes I did not feel like doing it. Just like everybody else, human being. The difference is that I did it. No matter if I felt like doing it or not, I did it, right? And sometimes, this is really tough, and I kind of get emotional because I can still feel it. I knew the times when I was practicing for hours alone at home with a metronome going in the background, just practicing the scales up and down the fretboard of my bass guitar. And I put in so much fucking work. And I did my absolute best. I always did my very, very, very best. And then when I came to practice with my band members, they were better than me. And I knew for a fact that they didn't even practice. They didn't do shit. They didn't do anything. And I always did my best. Like I really, really always did my best. And I put in a lot of work. And it felt like I didn't even get any benefits from it. It felt like, hey, those people are just screwing around, fooling around, and I'm putting my heart and my soul into this, and they get the same results as me. What the fuck? I never stopped. I always did my fucking best, probably because I was scared that if I didn't do my best, I would become like a lot worse than the others. Like, what if I'm working twice as hard and getting the same results as the others? That means that I have to work twice as hard in order to not be a loser, right? And that's what I did. I worked so hard, and I was like, I got so tired. I just felt like crying because I was just tired, because I pushed so hard and I did my very, very, very best. And I did not feel like I got the benefit from it. And now that I just turned 30, I look at myself and realize, hey, I actually have developed a pretty good body. Like from my workouts, from the work I put in, I'm actually on a pretty high level. And looking at my YouTube channel, I made a video every day for 2.5 years. I put in a lot more hours and a lot more work than people understand. And sometimes people think that this is easy because I just turn on the camera and I start talking. That is a skill. That is not easy. It's not easy to just turn on the camera and start talking, right? And people often think that, hey, you can improve the videos by editing this and editing that and editing and making a cooler intro and making all of that. Like, bro, I've done it. I've done it fucking all, right? The reason why I don't do it now is because I know that that is not what's going to matter if my YouTube video does good or not. I've done the over-editing thing. I've done the TikTok brain adaptation, you know. It doesn't matter, right? And I found out that the hard way because I actually had to do it for a long period of time and I realized a bunch of shit. But now the big thing is that my YouTube channel now is doing pretty good. And I'm actually a professional YouTuber. This is how I make my living. And I put in so much work and I saw other people just playing around. And they got more views than me. And I saw other people playing around in the gym and they got the same results as me. But now, when I turned 30, I could see the compounding effect that my work had. My work compounded, and now that I look at the other people who were playing around in the gym, I look at them, bro, you're a fucking beginner, you're nothing. You have bro, you got your weaknesses are like all over your body. You got like one strength. Oh, sure, you got big arms, but your chest is flat, you have no lats, and your legs I've never seen because you wear the baggy pants, right? Like, the people who I previously put in a lot more work than, but it felt like we were on the same level. We were on the same level, but work has this magical compounding effect where the results you get is not linear to the work you put in, it's exponential, which means that you're not gonna get results for a long period of time, and then all of a sudden it's gonna go like this. And now that I reached 30, I do believe that I'm in the turning point, right? So I believe that I worked my whole 20s like this, and now I'm 30 and I feel like I'm like here. That's where I feel I am, like there. I work all the way and on there. And hey, some people may think I'm cocky. Some people may think I'm confident. Truth is, I am really fucking confident. I am. Some people say that I have a massive ego. I don't think ego and confidence is the same thing. I think having an ego is a completely different thing. I am very confident, okay? Now, the whole point that I try to make now is that I grinded my whole 20s. I put in a lot of work and effort and my heart and my soul into it, right? And I did not feel like I got rewarded. And now, when I turned 30, I am at a turning point in my life. And I know that within a couple of years, I'm gonna be in a position when I get so much back for the work that I put in, that it's going to be unfair to the other people. It felt unfair for me because I worked harder than them and I got the same results. In a couple of years, it's gonna be the other way around. And that is called delayed gratification. And I believe that the sooner you realize that you need to work hard without seeing the results, you need to put in the work and you need to track your metrics, right? You need to track your metrics so that you're actually improving, okay? So make no mistake, you can't just put in the work and not see improvements. You need to see improvements, But the way it works is that you need to have delayed gratification. I need to be able to make 100 videos in a row and just know that I did the right thing and not feel the need to get rewarded for it now, but being okay with knowing that in the future I will get rewarded. And I believe in delayed gratification, and I'm so happy that I put in the work that I did in my 20s. It's time for the final one, and this is painful for me because I fucking love it and I fucking hate it at the same time. Weed is not good for me. And I want to say that it's not good for you either, but I'm not the one to say that. You need to figure that out for yourself. And there will be people defending weed to the fucking death. People will defend that shit. They will like bring up studies and you know, do everything they can to say, hey, it's medicine, you know, like whatever, you know. To me, it doesn't matter what the studies say or what people say. For me, it's pretty damn clear. Every time I got addicted to weed, my life got destroyed. And the reason why it's so bad for me is because when I get high, my perspective on time changes. So now that I'm here sober, I can think about what's gonna happen in tomorrow, the day after that, in 1 month, in 1 year, in 10 years. I will make the right choices now for me that will be the right choices in 10 years. And I will be able to look back and learn from my mistakes that I did 10 years ago, now that I'm sober. When I'm not sober, when I smoke weed, I'm here now. I'm right now. Like everything is now. I'm so in the moment. And that is pleasure. Because if you put in the work and you feel like, hey, I got a good body, but you're not thinking about your good body, all you think about is how can I work more to get results in 10 years, you're not gonna feel it, right? But if all of a sudden you smoke some weed and you become a little bit more of a narcissist, right? Like your narcissist level goes from like a 3.5 to 7.5, right? All of a sudden you're gonna feel really damn fucking good about yourself, right? And that's when I'm gonna be like, oh, hey, I can have a cookie. I put in work, you know, I can have a cookie. And like, hey, I should reward myself because look, I put in all of this work and look at the metrics and everything is going good. Hey, I can reward myself, right? And that's instant gratification. When the truth is that what built me is delayed gratification. And I don't want to imagine where I could have been right now if I didn't waste the time that I did smoking weed and choosing instant gratification instead of delayed gratification. To be honest, it doesn't matter because I cannot go back in time, so there's no reason to overthink that shit. But the thing that I can do is learn from my mistakes. And that's why I'm setting up a rule. And this is a promise I make to myself right now. And I'm telling all of you guys this because I want you to hold me accountable, okay? And this is really hard to do, and most people don't do this because it is hard to do. But I want you guys to hold me accountable. I will not smoke weed in Vietnam or Sweden. That is my promise. If I'm on vacation in Bangkok and I stumble across a little bit of weed, what happens in Bangkok stays in Bangkok, right? If I visit, what's the place called where like it's legal? If I travel to a place that's known for weed and I have a little bit of weed there, that's gonna stay there. But I will not introduce weed to the place where I live. And that's a promise I'm making to myself. Now, quick look back. First off, looking good will benefit you like fucking crazy. Like, try your best to look good. Just clean yourself up and lose the weight. If you get to a lower body fat, you will look a lot better, trust me. Work and education. You can put in the work even if you don't feel like it and you will still benefit. If you are passionate about something and you educate yourself, that is gonna increase your salary for every time you put in the work in the future. You're better alone than with bad company. That's a big one. If you know that someone in your life, maybe you shouldn't be with that person, do the hard thing, bro. Just do the hard thing. You are not your potential. You don't deserve to win. You don't deserve anything just because you have the potential. You are not your potential. You are what you are. You finish where you're finished. You put in the work and you can use your potential to become something great. And I believe that you should find your talents. You should find where do I have the most potential, and that's where you should focus. That's what I believe you should do. But you don't deserve shit just because you have potential. Choose yourself. Choose yourself first. Put on your own oxygen mask before you start saving others. Becoming an adult. You are truly only an adult when you care more, when you have other people that are more important to you than yourself. Delayed gratification built me, and when you see me explode, because I don't know when it's gonna happen, but make no mistake, I will fucking explode, right? No, that's because I've been 10 years in the making. Every overnight success has been 10 years in the making. And finally, no more weed where I live. That's it for today. I hope you liked the video. Please comment, subscribe, and do all of that things. Like I told you, I put my heart and my soul into this YouTube channel. So if you feel like it benefited you, it's very easy for you to give back by just subscribing to the channel. See you in the next one.